Hello, everyone. This is Matt from drawingtutorialsonline.com. In today's live stream, we are going to be doing kind of a master study of a short version of a master study. We are so not going to be working on this thing for like a gazillion hours. I would say that our live stream will last anywhere between an hour and a half and 2 hours. And in the first part of the live stream, we're going to do a value study of this beautiful Ang painting. Princess de Broguil. I can't pronounce it with that French je ne sais quoi. My last name is French Canadian, and I can't even pronounce it the proper way either. So it is what it is, but it's going to be a good class. So what I just cleaned these glasses. God, what I would like to do is in the first, however long it's going to take, an hour or less, do a nice value study of this piece. I think it's always been one of my favorite Ang paintings, and there was a viewer of the live stream who had requested. Where did my chat go? Let's just skip this right here. Somebody a couple weeks ago requested that we do an Ang piece, and we're following through on the request. All right. So, Omar Comics, Happy New Year, everybody. I hope everyone had a good holiday season. Sebastian Restrepo, welcome. And makes Simon, that's a tough one. And Kimberly, welcome to the live stream. So what I like to take, I'm on winter break from the college. We start again next week on Wednesday the 14th. And so I always make it a practice in between semesters, especially this is the long break, to give myself 2 weeks to do nothing art related. I like to create systems for myself, and I like to really drill down and organize my life so that when I am teaching 5 college classes as well as running drawingtutorialsonline.com, everything runs smoothly. So that doesn't happen by accident. So I like to take these 2 weeks. Most people would take 2 weeks and just watch Netflix. Hey, Wes. And Carmela and Sebastian, welcome. But I like to really just drill down, organize my life, organize all my systems, and clean stuff, because when I'm teaching at school, everything is just so chaotic. And I'm a commuter, so there's not a lot of extra time for me to do this. So I took 2 weeks off. So this is going to be the first time I touch the the paper with a pencil in 2 weeks. So you're going to either see me crash and burn or do not too bad. Okay, so what I would like to do, let's get started here. What I would like to do first is just a quick like little warm-up. Nothing crazy. You know the drill with my warm-ups. So what I'm going to do is go, so this is going to be the painting. I've always loved this painting. Yeah, it's just very, very striking. The values are amazing. The color is amazing, and it's gorgeous. And so we're going to try to do a value study of this. Now, this is like my cheat way of kind of warming up. Like doing a value study is much easier than doing like a line drawing, at least in my opinion. So we're going to do that first, and then what we're going to do is we're going to maybe spend a little bit of time on doing a quick, not a long, but a quick version of this beautiful portrait. And there's some really good things in that portrait that I want to really discuss. Okay, but first, let's go back here. And let me go back to the chat. And Sandy, welcome. And Girl Combo, how long? I've been working at SVA. You're going to make me age myself. First video of the year. You're going to make me age myself already. I've been teaching at SVA since 1997, and my first class was Principles of Illustration, very long time ago. Making my brother watch this with me. Now, don't do that. Why are you doing that? Like, don't make anybody watch me. That's no good. That's no good. Brother, you don't have to watch me. This is probably going to be boring. SSP Artistic, welcome. Jeffrey, Craig Williams, hello. And here, oh boy, there's some toughies today with the names. Excuse me, Miram Laz. Okay. I didn't claim to be able to pronounce stuff well. Absolutely not. Okay. So with that being said, listen, people, this is the first time I'm touching the paper with my pencil in literally 2 weeks. I'm going to use the ebony for this. Um, yeah, I'm going to use the ebony, and this is just cheap warm-up paper, 50-pound paper. And for my students, I know my foundation students drawings are. Duh. I know my foundation drawing students are not watching me right now, but if you are, and you need a drawing pad, please email me because I have a couple of extra drawing pads that I can bring in. However, I don't want to bring them in and no one's going to use them because I commute a far, far distance. And so that's a hassle. All right, so I'm just doing these ovals. It doesn't feel too bad. Now, for me, warm up is continuous line. And I'm going to stress a little bit more of this when I go back to teach. I'm going to devote a couple of classes to connection lines, continuous lines, scribbling just like this. Okay, so I'm almost done. I just lifted my pencil off the paper for the second time, and we're coming on down. And I could, yeah, all right, not bad. So now what I would like to do is just resharpen this pencil. And now I'm going to do, speaking of connector lines, I'm just going to do, he's enjoying it. Okay, wow, isn't the teacher so talented? He knows how to draw circles. Thank you, Wes. I appreciate you saying that I'm very, very youthful. That means a lot to me, absolutely. Okay, so let's do some long lines, gesture drawing, aka 101. Now, we're not really going to be doing too much gesture today. It's a little bit more about tone, but we'll incorporate some connection lines because I'm so big on them. And I should do some letter C's in my tribute to Stephen Gaffney, my good friend in third year. He hates my opposite C's. Stephen, you know I love you. I like teasing you. All right, so we're going to go down with the opposite C's. Love you, Stephen. Love you, man. Brother, you're the most popular teacher at the school. And I am going to go opposite C, and I'm going to go letter C. Okay, so it's just one side of the oval. I can't wait to see Stephen. Okay, he's probably sleeping light right now. The last thing he's going to be doing is watching this train wreck. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about tone. So with shading, what I'm going to do with the Ang piece is I'm going to probably shade a little bit more up and down, up and down, up and down. And another great way to shade is very natural on a diagonal. Another great way to shade is just scribbling. If you've got like a shaky hand, this is a really good way to kind of shade. I appreciate that. And yeah, so that's another good way. So now what you should be very, very, very conscious of as we get back into drawing here, at least for me, in 2026, there's a lot of drawing ahead of me in the next 4 to 5 months, that's why it's very good to take a break, is the 3-value system. So every single piece of art that you do should have 3 values. It should have a dark, it should have a middle tone, and it should have a light. And you should train, and light doesn't need to be white, and dark doesn't need to be black. It just needs to be dark, middle tone, and light. And so I pride myself on, always practicing this. This is huge. And then you can do 5 values if you want, but 3 values is the minimal. And the 5 values would be the dark halftone, the midtone, and the light midtone. This should be lighter. So, okay, I need to be aware of that when I do the drawing that we're going to do here today. Okay, and then my last little doodad with the warm-up is to draw a shape, okay, and then to copy that shape as closely as you can. Okay, so we start next Wednesday, foundation drawing. And go a little slower, Matt. Go a little slower. That's it. Bore everyone to death. Okay, so I should be doing this every single day. So this shape is too tall. All right, so I'm out of practice with my proportions, but it's fine. And it's too wide. I have alternative on Spotify playlist, and it's playing the Rolling Stones. What the heck? I love the Rolling Stones, and I love that album. But that is not. Oh, maybe it wasn't the indie mix that I was listening to. Okay, timeout. Let's just go to the indie mix. Cool. Okay, so as I look at these shapes, the bottom one's a little too tall and it's a little too wide. And what is also skewing it immensely is my line is much thicker, and that is a thinner, cleaner line. Okay, so we're, oh my God, 16, 17 minutes into this live stream, and I'm still doing a warm up. My goodness gracious. SSP Artistic, hello, and all right, cool. All right, let's do this. So this is very, very cheap warm-up paper. It's so thin. My God, it is just like such thin paper, but it serves its purpose. Now, let me get a heavier weight paper, but nothing crazy. And this is a Strathmore 400 series paper that I'm going to just tape. Ooh, I didn't cut this. Okay. 1 second. Just tolerate me as I tape this down. I know there's going to be somebody on YouTube who's going to say, how come you didn't tape it down before the... I get you. I do a lot of preparation for this, believe it or not. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Cool. Oh, I like that song. I can't pronounce the band's name, but it's STRFKR. Yeah. All right. Hold on now, people. Starting the year right. Keto diet, bulletproof coffee. If you don't know what bulletproof coffee is, look it up on YouTube. It's pretty cool. Some people just get disgusted by the thought. Oh, photo reference. Let me make my iPad so it doesn't shut off on me. But Matt, you should have done that before the live stream. I got you. I know I should have. Oh, God. Okay. And Truffs is in the house today over there. And maybe Truffs will make a cameo today on our live stream. Now, all right. So when I tap this on my iPad, the image that you see over there to the left, it's 5.5 by 7.5. Do I really need to do 5.5 by 7.5? No, that's too big. Let me tap it again, make it smaller. How big is that? That's 4.5 by 6. So I kind of... I want to make a little box there. 4.5, and this is good for the bottom by 6, we said. That seems weird. Okay. So I just want to do a quick little box, so that's cool. So I think I could deal with that size in a short period of time and kind of make it look somewhat reasonable for a YouTube live stream. Okay. It doesn't seem right to me. I gotta measure that one more time. I'm sorry. Bear with me. Wes, your brother, is he sleeping yet? Is he sleeping? Okay, so that is 6. And that is 4.5. Ah, that's 5, Matt. Jeez, I need to learn how to count. Good God. Okay, so let's just go there. All right, so across. Okay, and so when we're working on something like this, I think it's very good that we talk about briefly the thing that we were just talking about in the warm-ups, which is connection lines, okay? Big gestural lines, because you don't want to start drawing this thing and start doing it like with the head and getting into all the nitty gritty. You want to map out the big shapes first. So what you could do, and I don't want to make this too much about proportions because then it's going to become something else, but let's just say that's the midpoint. I'm doing this by eye. I'm not really worried about perfection here. Midpoint, almost, if I just visually look, is the top of that blue velvety sofa, which looks really cool. So then let's just say the princess with 2 S's at the end. The princess's dress, I've got a princess sleeping behind me there, Truffles. The princess's dress is about a little lower. And so I'm going to gesture. So we've got right over here, let's just call this the shelf. Okay, and then we're going to come on down and we're going to come to the gold chair. So that is a very, very gestural way to start mapping out that bottom section. Okay. Oh, this is another good song that I really like. Who is this? This is Inside Out by Spoon. I like this song. Okay. Yeah, I didn't want to stop that. Why did that stop? Did I hit the volume? Now, I could do the top portion of the princess's body, or I can do the chair. I think I'm going to do the chair. So I'm looking at this negative space. So again, I don't want to be too like anal with this and like ruin it and make it not fun. But I do kind of want to get some decent proportions also. So okay, that's the shape of our chair. And so again, this is kind of like a warm up for me. The entire day is a warm up for me, considering I haven't done anything in 2 weeks or plus, actually. So I'm going to just suggest with a target here at the top of our princess's head. So right about there. And I'm just going to do a quick little shape for the hair. And then I'm going to come on down and do the neck into the sleeve of the dress. So the neck coming down over here, this shoulder's a little bit lower, and that arm, let's just gesture that arm downward. And then we're going to do an opposite C into the model's hand. And then we'll get a little bit of that dress coming out, looking at that negative space. Okay, and so I think that's my quick little warm-up, okay? And so there seems to be some sort of a curtain or a tapestry over here, which I think is very important that we incorporate that. And so now what I can do is start to separate things a little bit further. We could also just very quickly gesture out the top of the dress near the chest. Okay, and then, I mean, this is some serious poofy sleeves. Okay, so I mean, you've got to have these poofy sleeves if you're a princess, right? So now we're coming on down, elbow and poofy sleeve and chest, that little pocket over there. Okay, I'm very cool with that. It doesn't need to be perfect right now. It's a tonal study. So I'm just looking at the thickness of both arms together. And when you really stare at this arm, man, it's weird looking. Okay. I don't want to stare at it for too long. Looks like a weird, funky thing there. Okay, but who am I to judge? I'm no Ang. And I am going to... This princess has a very long neck. And where'd my camera go? There we go. Don't do this to me today, people. Okay, so we're going to go up. Cool part of the hair. And shape of the hair. Okay, I'm very okay with that. So now we've got this mapped out. Let's just look at Batman. What type of exercise of art do you make your students go through to help them? That's an extremely open-ended question with a gazillion different answers. I'll just give you one or two answers here in a moment. However, Batman, I do appreciate you asking questions. That's what this is all about. Oh, okay. Why is this happening to me? If it keeps doing it, I'm just going to fuss with the wire a little bit. I'm really due for new cameras. I'm just procrastinating with getting new cameras. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to establish, I wouldn't call the blue velvet sofa the darkest dark, but I'm just going to establish that value. Now, okay, so I'm going to start putting some tone down, and I'm going to use a blending stump today to help the process speed along a little bit, and we're going to try to turn this into a little mini tonal study. So the question was, what types of exercises of art do... Well, everything is topic specific for the class and per semester. So, like, when we come back, the first thing that I'm going to do, so on Wednesday, the 14th of January, my first Foundation Drawing Life class, we're going to be working with the model. So the first hour of the class, I'm going to I've got new students in that class this semester. So I'm going to do a recap of some of the basics of figure drawing. So that's going to be first, and those basics are gesture, proportions, rough skeleton, opposite C's, torso peanut shape, stuff like that. So that's going to be the first thing that we do. And then next semester, the spring semester in my foundation drawing class, is a little bit more about composition as well as figure drawing and a lot of different things in the spring semester. The fall semester is all about just drawing the figure, portraits, hands, feet, stuff like that. But the spring semester is all about composition with the figure and lots of other little things. So we're going to start with recap. And I think you don't really need, so now let's use our soft touch to press down here and make this a slightly lighter value than the curtain on the left and the blue sofa. Now, we're going to talk about a couple different things as we do this. But for now, we're just blocking in big tone. Okay. So, yeah, so that's what we're going to do. Like, when it comes to just plain old drawing, there is no mystery. Like, you need to really become an expert at like 10 to 15 things. You don't need to become an expert of 100 things. You need to become an expert of like 10 to 15 hardcore skills. And so that's what I won't recap all of those skills with the students, but we'll hit on a lot of them. So just to close out that answer to that question, the exercise is on the topic of the day. So that's really important that you understand that exercises are designed around topics, the topic of the class for that day. Because if you don't limit it to one topic, then it just becomes too generalized and too overwhelming, especially when these younger students are coming back from their first winter break and they might be, out of it a little bit, not in school mode just yet. So we don't want to like be all over the place. We want to be very specific with specific things to focus on. And that's a great way to get back into things when you're specific. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, everybody on YouTube, is I'm being extremely painterly. Okay, I'm being extremely tonal, and I am not right now worried about copying realism. I am just putting in some tone. Now, for those of you who are watching me from the animation department at the School of Visual Arts, this tone thing is one of the most important things that you can practice, not just line, because every single image that you do in your film is tone. Like if you do a background of, say, a bedroom scene with your character, it's tone. Like what color are the walls? What color is the bedspread? What color is the bookcase? What's the value? So this tone thing is not something to be like neglected. And just I get it. Like line is awesome. Line is most valuable for doing your keyframes and all of that, for drawing very, very fast. But the tone, it comes into play with everything, like your value studies for your film, like and so that's why I think like I'm on a little bit of a mission with my students in the animation department to get them to understand the importance of both line and tone, and to like be a little bit more diverse with their skill set and not just think that everything has to be like a keyframe 2-minute style drawing. That's very important. It does. But there's so many other things that need to be worked on. So you can see right now my drawing is very, very gray. And I'm okay with it being gray because it's just a start. Okay, so now this chair, if you squint at it, the yellow, ochre, gold, it's almost the same value as the dress over there. And then we've got that white gold fabric, and then we've got like what appears to be some velvety hat maybe. I can't really tell what that is. I don't want to waste too much time trying to stare at it, but we're just going to match the shape. Okay, and I think, okay, what I'm going to do next is go hardcore blending stump. Hardcore blending stump. Okay. But I need more of my bulletproof coffee. Any questions? No? Now, for me, this tone thing is such a good way to warm up. It really is. It gets my fingers going, and it's easy. We don't need to be perfect with anything, and I like it. It's a quick way to get your hands and fingers going. Okay, so I'm just going to use this Mondo blending stump. I could also use this brush. That would be good too. But I want to be a little bit of a lunatic, and I want to push. So maybe I'll just experiment with both. I want to push this. Now, you could, people. Hold on. Where did it go? Here it is. 1 second. If you're not into smudging, you could use the bridge and just put the bridge over here, put your hand on the bridge, and there's a space in between the bridge and the paper because we have that little block there. I don't really care about that today. I'm going to be mindful that I could also, you can also just get a sheet of copy paper and put it right there. But if I do that, then I can't really see the chat. Because the chat of the live stream is to my right. So I'll just fold this piece of paper and put it right here perhaps so I don't smudge this thing to death all over the place. Get some tape. I don't like the bridge that much as I used to like it. Okay, so now I'm just going to be a lunatic and press down hard. So I'm going to use this. I'm pressing down hard, and I'm using the ebony pencil. The ebony is like equivalent to a 3B, 4B graphite. It's very soft. And so I'm going to push that ebony pencil in where I feel there's some of the darkest darks in this princess piece. Let's come over here. The velvety hat. That could be much lower. Screwed up with that. Okay. Side of the chair. And now I just want, oh, and the princess's hair. Batman, I think that question is, can I tell you more about tone? So this is tone. Tone is basically a series of these values. Okay. And it's my opinion that there was before tone or before value and after value. Okay. So my painting career when I was younger, before I learned about values, and then my painting career after I learned about values. And they're two different, completely different careers. Okay. And so this is the numero uno thing that you must become an expert on, matching these values and manipulating the values. That's all you really need to know. And that comes into play with everything, in my opinion. And okay, is it most important when you're working, doing gesture drawing, like 3-minute gesture poses? Maybe not. If you're doing a 20-minute drawing of the model in the classroom, yes, the values come into play, because then you can start to control light and shade, where the viewer looks first, second, and third, many different things. So I'm just going to kind of use this lightly now. So that's why I like to use the brush in tandem with the blend-in stump, because the brush, if you are heavy-handed, it's just a little bit more forgiving. Like, I'm not really pressing down so hard over here. Now, for members of drawingtutorialsonline.com on their weekly Zoom class, which starts next week, I think on the 12th. Let me see. Let me just look at my dates here so I'm using the right dates. 1 second. Yeah, the 13th is our first Zoom class next Tuesday. And so, what we are going to be doing with this painting is so this semester for my members of drawingtutorialsonline.com, the focus of the semester is not going to be studies but scenes, composition and painting. And so we're going to do an underdrawing of this, an underpainting of this, and a final painting. It's not going to be totally as finished as this because that would take me days, not hours. And so the Zoom class isn't about days; it's about hours. So yeah, we'll work small. We'll do the best that we can, but it's just the process of painting this and the whole process of underdrawing, underpainting, and final painting. So I think now, look. So when you look at this painting, let's talk about these values right now. Okay. So when I squint at this, there's a couple of lights, believe it or not. So one of the lightest lights is here on the forehead where I'm pointing with my brush. It's also here on the chest, shoulder. And it's also here on the fabric. And it's also here on the glove. I didn't realize that. So there's like a downward angle. And then we've got some, I guess, number 9 and 8 values over here on the reflections of the satin dress, or shiny dress, I should say. And I would say that the arms are closer to like an 8 value. Okay. So what you want to start doing when you're looking at this painting is assessing the values. Now, I would say that the way that I did the background here, the wall is too light. It needs to be darker. So now what I could do is just go through it again. Okay. And so, yeah, there's a lot of artists that would do this so much slower than what I'm doing. And they would just sit here, they would bring their fingers back on the pencil, and they would sit here and they would do this. But this takes forever, but I'm going to do it a little bit here. What time is it? Okay. So I'm just going to put a little bit more graphite down here. This needs to be darker. And I need to be very cognizant of the edges, of where the edges are hard, where they're soft. Now, I could also here, remember when we did the warm-up, we talked about the 3 different ways to shade. We talked about diagonal, we talked about scribbling, and we talked about vertical. Well, when I first mapped in the value, I did it vertical, and now I'm kind of scribbling. Meaning I'm going in all different directions with the pencil stroke. All right, that's getting really annoying. I think if it keeps happening, I need to like pause for a second and just adjust the wire that's going into the camera. That's what's happening. So I actually like ripped apart my office and really cleaned it from head to toe. Like I didn't clean it for like a couple of months, and it was just like lots of dust. And so when I do that, like I dust my cameras because, yeah, that's just something that needs to get done. And because they're out all the time, I don't put them away. They're constantly out, and they collect dust. And so like I move them when I dust them a little bit, and the connection just gets a little wonky. And I also need new cameras. These cameras have been unbelievable. They are workhorses, and I have had them for close to 15 years, and they are tanks, these cameras. They are absolute tanks. Okay, so we're pressing down a little bit harder, and but it's time for an upgrade. I just, yeah, it's not like buying one camera is one thing, but I use 2 cameras, and to get 2 cameras, 2 lenses, that gets very, very pricey very, very quickly. Wow, the chat is quiet today. How are we doing here, people? Does anybody have any questions? Okay. So I'm going to go darker here. I'm telling you, like, we're just getting back into it. Some of you could have been watching YouTube videos every single day of the week and drawing constantly. Not me. This is a very good warm-up for me. I'm just going very, very gingerly here. not trying to be uber perfect with everything. My pencil's pretty dull. Yeah. Okay. We're getting there. Let me sharpen my pencil. Like I said, in the second half of this live stream, after about like 11 o'clock, we will do the portrait of this princess. So I'm just going to try to press down a little bit more, not hard, but trying to make this more solid. So I think what we are trying to do here right now is we are trying to warm up. We are trying to match the values of this painting as best as we can in a short period of time. And I think that for you out there in YouTube land, I think this is a really great practice exercise, especially if you like painting, digital painting. You can do this digitally. It would be so much fun to do it digitally. And if you just want to have like a nice little warm up study situation, not too stressful, this could be something that you do digitally with your favorite brushes, or you can actually take some time if you're a student during the winter break to do this and practice with some different types of brushes. Oh, Truffles. Truffles just jumped down. She wants to get out of the office. Let me grab Truffles to say hello. 1 second. Oh, okay. Let me just do this. Truffs is in the house. Hey, Truffs, you want to say, look over here, Truffs. Look. Say hello, Truffs. Yeah. Oh, you're licking your chops today. Okay. Now that I'm covered with white hair. Okay, you're out of here. Let's. It's funny. I haven't had a computer chair in a long time because I think I told this story on YouTube. I went to a posture expert, and the posture expert talked about how bad computer chairs that swivel are for you, because what they do, if you have like a tendency to lean towards one side, or your body tilts towards one side and you're not symmetrical, the swiveling computer chair accentuates that, makes it actually worse. It exacerbates the problem. And so I got rid of my computer chair for a couple of years, and I think I'm on top of my posture, because I do like certain exercises at least 5 days a week to improve your posture. And so I ordered a computer chair because it was actually on sale right after the new year, and it got delivered like 3 minutes before the live stream. So it's right downstairs, and I need to set that thing up today after this live stream. It is so comfortable. I sat in it. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to having a little bit more of a comfortable office setup over here and not using this old-fashioned chair that I've been using now for years. Okay, so I don't want to make this arm too long. Now, okay, so what I'm going to do next is just, thank you so much, Batman, is I'm just going to go over this with the brush one more time, and then we'll clean up some edges. And we want to try to finish this before 11, and I think we could do that. Okay, so the question from, yes, Omar, Happy New Year, everybody. I like quiet New Year's. I mean, I'm older, so I used to be a lunatic with going out with my friends and all that jazz. I'm older now, so I just like chill. And my wife and we went out to dinner. It was really good. We went early. It was freezing that day. I think we had a snowstorm the day before. So yeah, it was really just chill. We watched a little bit of the ball thing on TV, and I tend to be like a lunatic, and when I get on a mission, I'm on a mission. So I was hardcore into my systems creation and organization of my home. So my life is so much easier during the semesters and my commuting life. Now, what does that mean? It just means you create systems to make everyday life go smoother. So for me, that's organizing and setting up all my clothes so that when I wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, and I'm not going to wake everybody up in the house looking for clothes and ironing clothes. Like all that's kind of set up. I know where everything is. It's organizing, my Canvas courses, so I know exactly what I'm going to teach, and everything's in a folder. So when I get to the class, I just have to open the folder in my Photoshop file, and everything is there for me. It's fabricating my Zoom classes. It's a lot of things like that. And just like even for what I do, like I work out 3 days a week downstairs in my basement. I've got like a little gym down there, and it's making sure that that's organized and clean, so I'm not like moving clutter around when it's 6 p.m. on a Tuesday night and I'm finished with my classes and I need to wake up at 5 to go into the city to teach. Like I can't be like, everything just needs to be very, very smooth. It just makes your life so much easier. Okay, so here's another question. And the question is, can you tell me more what comes into my mind when drawing? Okay, so Batman, what you've got to understand is there's a couple of things. So let's just talk about me, and then we'll talk about like students. So when I'm drawing, I'm probably not thinking so much about technique all the time. I'm more thinking of other things. I'm thinking about what I need to do tonight. Like, why? Like, I'll like jump around. Like, so right now I'm looking at my drawing and I'm like, okay, I'm looking at the clock and I'm like, okay, I've got like 10 more minutes on this. So I need to focus on edges and I need to focus on my darks. So like, okay, that's what I just thought about. So now my brain is changing and I'm thinking about angles. So I'm like, oh, what's the angle of the princess's hair? And then I'm thinking about, oh, the tilt. I need to get the tilt of the princess's head. So, and now I'm thinking that this side of the hair is a little bit too thick. So, I just think about this stuff for like a split second, okay? And then I think about other things. Like I'll if I'm in the classroom, I'll look around the classroom and I'm like, who needs help? All right, who is being distracted and who's distracting other students and who looks like they're having a bad day. I'll start to think about like that stuff, and then I'll think about what comes next, and then I'll go back and I'll be working with the model as I'm doing all this, and I'll look at my drawing. So right now I'm looking at the width of the sleeve, and I'm looking at the value structure of the sleeve. So now I'm back to thinking about values. This is lighter. And now I'm back to thinking about a little bit of flow with the ribbony part of the chest aspect. I'll also think that there's a gradation. This side of the chest shoulder's a little bit darker. I'll want to focus in on my edges. Now I'm thinking, shit, I'm going like a little too dark over here. This is darker, so I'm looking at value. So my brain is constantly switching all over the place. When I'm in the classroom, I'm thinking more about students and making the class flow and making the class fun and making the class interesting and not getting bogged down. So it's really the classroom, what goes on in my mind in the classroom is different. Over here, I'm bouncing around. So now I'm thinking this needs to be more solid. I'm looking at this. And so lots of things. Now, let's talk about the student. So when a student is drawing, learning how to draw, learning how to paint, you have to consciously, like proactively think about what you are actually doing. Okay, so if this is walking, I am taking a step. I am landing on my heel. There is a bump in the sidewalk. I need to be careful. I don't trip. I'm landing on the ball of my foot next. So you're thinking about all that stuff, but then when you do it a gazillion times, then it becomes subconscious and you don't need to think about it. So that is the goal for the student, is that first you need to consciously think about what you are actually doing. And then you don't need to really think about it as much because you've done it so many times that it's in your subconscious brain right now. And that's everything. That's what all athletes do. So your top athletic performers, Olympic athletes, they have practiced their thing, free throws, is it an archerist or archery? They focus so much on their technique for archery, breathing, their touch with the bow, looking at a specific spot on the target, that they don't really need to think about it that much in a competition. In a competition, it just happens subconsciously. So my point is this, like when you're first learning how to draw, you really, really need to be very conscious and consciously think exactly about what you are doing. But then when you do that for a year, 6 months, 2 years, it becomes subconscious and you don't need to think about it anymore. It just happens naturally. So that should be the goal for everybody. Now, the problem is people try to rush this and people judge themselves against other people. It's just human nature. We all compare. And comparison is not the worst thing in the world, but you don't want to over compare yourself to others. So what might take somebody 6 months to become an expert at might take somebody else like 2 years. And everybody grows and learns at their own pace, right? So some things I'm really slow at. And when I was learning how to do realistic oil painting, it took me years, not months. So yeah, and I needed to be very patient and just stay the course and consciously every single day think about what I was doing. So then I could later on paint the same painting that I had to consciously think about 2 years prior, and I could have friends in my studio and have a conversation with them that had nothing to do with painting. I didn't need to think about matching values. I didn't need to think about how much oil I was using with my paint. I didn't need to think about what brushes that was just all subconscious because I had done it a gazillion times. I hope that makes sense. So you need to just put in the time is what I'm basically saying. And yeah, and you need to put in the time with something specific. Like it's very, very important that you don't bounce around and constantly change, because then you're never going to become an expert at one thing. So for me, my one thing that I wanted to become an expert at was realistic oil painting. And I did do that. I did that for 18 years. And then I got bored with that because it was too predictable for me. And then I wanted to become an absolute expert at drawing the figure. And I did. And then not in a week, in years. And then I wanted to become an absolute expert at understanding anatomy and being able to draw out of my imagination. And I did, and that didn't happen in months. It happened in years. So you have to really not be all over the place, but just really be thoughtful about what you want to become an expert at. Okay, I'm not liking this head, but it is what it is. Okay, so that might be my value study. And I appreciate everybody watching today. And I really do appreciate you giving me a thumbs up. That was cool. Now, listen, if you're not subscribed to the channel, definitely subscribe to the channel. Now, when because I'm asking, that was like real, just subscribe to the channel. Jesus Christ. Okay. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be pushy there. Absolutely. I watch a couple of people on YouTube, not in the art realm, but in other realms. And oh my God, these people are relentless. Like every freaking 5 minutes in the video, like, and make sure that you give the video a thumbs up, because every YouTuber's like excuse is, oh, it helps us so much with the algorithms. And yeah, I'm sure it does, but I mean, some people, like the YouTubers, like they repeat this shit constantly. Like it, I'm like, dude, I get it. Like, but I'm just relaxing right now on my sofa. I really don't want to like get the remote and click thumbs up right now. I get it. It takes 2 seconds, but some YouTubers are like really relentless with it. I'm just a little bit more chill, and I probably won't mention it again until the end of the video. So, any other questions here? So this is a good warm up for me. I like that it looks atmospheric. I didn't necessarily focus on the eye sockets or any of the facial features. I just wanted to do a quick like little value study thing. Fingertips are a little bit darker. So how long have we been doing this? We've been doing this for about 45 minutes because I was doing the warm up in the beginning. So I think for me, this is a decent warm up now. I could be a lunatic and make this lighter. Squint at this. I need to do this with my students much more at the School of Visual Arts. And I actually should have them watch this video for homework. So okay. There's the sheerness of the fabric over the bicep. That's not white. This here, the highlight area, a little lighter, not white. A little lighter than the background over there. Just scratching that out. The chin is lower, and the bottom of the face is not white. Necklace. It's pretty dark over there. Yeah, Truffles is an old dog, 11 something years old. She lost her sister this year, and so she's recovering. But she's doing pretty good. Okay, so let's just play. I shouldn't be using this little eraser, but I'm going to use it. There's a ribbon over here catching a little light at the top of the sofa. I love these colors so much. Oh, the glove. The hat is lower. I shouldn't be fussing with this at all. That's ridiculous. And then we've got some highlights on the dress. I'm being painterly, people. I'm not worried about perfection. It's just a quick study. And the tops of these ribbons. William, I see your question. I'll just get to it in 1 second. I don't want to do the highlight over here, but I'm going to do it. And there's some like little ones down over here, which is kind of really fun. The creases in the satin. On the bow. Oh, there's 2 bows there. I didn't even see that. Hold on. I need to cut this eraser to get the bow. Let's try this. Yeah, I just need to leave that and not go too crazy with it. And that I just made that too light. Oh boy, this is, I can really get into doing this. This is kind of fun. And to soften everything up and get rid of the eraser crumbs. Hold on now. I don't want the eraser crumbs to go all over my keyboard. I'm I'm almost there, William. I'm almost there. I'm actually getting into it now. This is a great brush to use too. Okay, let me look at William's question. So, if people are having trouble with this, convert the image to black and white, then polarize the image. This helps to show the tones. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. So I think I didn't even think about doing that, but that is something, William, that I have my students do with their. So I teach perspective and visual design class at the college, and that basically means I help students with backgrounds for their animation film. And so with backgrounds, the what when we look at when we critique their homework in class, it's up on the big screen. It's on my computer screen. And so if I see, okay, this person's the whole image, I can't even see it. Like it's all mid-tone. The first thing I do is I convert it to black and white to help them see the values. And so that's legitimate. And so that is a mainstay in my classroom, converting students' artwork to black and white so they can see the values. Because some people have a hard time seeing the values through the color, and I used to be one of those people. And I'm not saying that my values are perfect in this piece. They're not. So that's really good. And then not everyone has Photoshop because it's a tax. It's just another tax. But I'm just fortunate to have it because I get it from the college. And I love the filter gallery in Photoshop. And I use the cutout version of the filter gallery. And we look at their artwork in cutout, and you can see it as a 3 or a 5 value system that way. And so I think William makes a good point, everybody watching on YouTube, that I think it's very, very valuable for you if you're having a hard time seeing the values through the color. And again, mine's so not perfect. I think it's very good for you to make it black and white. And so, listen, if you type in, do I really want to go to my, I don't want to do this, but let me see. Maybe I'll do this quickly. So let me go back here and let me go. Yes, hold on. If you go to this page on the interwebs, so it's the Met collection, okay, and it's look, they have different versions of this, and there's the black and white. It looks too bright to me. So they have different. I went with the first one because I liked the first one. So, like members of DTO, this link to this is on the lesson page because we're doing this next Wednesday. We're going to do our underdrawing for this. So, yeah, okay. You can find the link to this, but just go to the Met and search this Ang, INGRES, and you will find that. Okay, let's go back here. Cool. All right, so I think that's it for our value study. I said first hour, right? So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to get up for a minute and I'm going to, take a little bathroom break and do a little stretch. And when we come back, what we are going to do is we are going to do this portrait. Okay, so let's go here. Yeah, I want to just crank out that portrait for me. It's just going to be good practice. But for now, while I'm taking a little stretch break, I'm going to put this back on this. Okay. And I will be back in like a minute. Okay. Probably less. So just if you want to finish your drawing, you can finish it and that'd be cool. I'll be right back. Wait, Chops. Okay. Okay, we're back here with a new friend, Bubba. Now, Bubba is lost because Bubba is my wife's dog, and he's looking at me. And my wife, my wife, my wife went to the city today, so he's completely lost. No, I don't want to be kissed by you, Bubba. No, thank you. So yeah, he's lost. He doesn't know what he's doing. He's usually next to my wife and doesn't leave yeah. Oh, you. Oh yeah, you're tired. Okay, I got you. I'm tired too. Okay, so what do you think? You want to say hello to YouTube? What's over here, Bubba? What's over here? Huh? Yeah, you're like whatever, dude. I'm not following your hand. Okay, so let's do a quick like little recap of what we did here. Okay, so what what we did, and let me let Bubba down. Okay, come on, Bubba. Let's get the heck out of my office here. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. So just let's recap, and then we'll get to this portrait in like less than a minute. So just in closing with this thing, what we did was a quick impressionistic painting, aka drawing, of this Ang piece. Okay, and the primary focus was us trying to match these values. Okay, the other primary focus was us trying our very best to draw in a solid way. So, again, to reiterate solid versus sketchy shading. So, if some students, when I say, oh, okay, shade, they'll go like that. That's not shading, that's scribbling texture. Shading is when you shade in a solid way. And so that's what I really tried to do. Now, when you shade deliberately, you've got to try to match a certain value. And that's what we tried to do here. And so this dubbed for us as a warm up session because for me personally, tone is so much easier than line. I think line is my favorite, but tone is easier. It's my default because it's painting. So I think if you're wanting to like warm up in the least intimidating way, I think doing this in tone is the least intimidating way. Now, the other thing you need to be very conscious of is edges, okay? So hardest edge is here, there's a hard edge here, there's a hard edge here, there's a lost edge here, there's a lost edge in other areas. I don't want to, go too deep with the edges right now, but yeah, we just tried to wing the proportions by eye. Yeah, so that's in closing what that piece was all about. So now we're going to switch out sheets of paper, and we're going to crank out a quick portrait. Okay, so let me just untape this. And yeah, all right. I could do those tonal studies all day. I love doing those things. They're so much fun, especially of that painting. Okay. Oh, God, I can't wait to set up my new computer chair. When I took a break, I looked at it, and I'm like, oh, damn, there's the box. I need to deal with that. All right, portrait, here we come. I'm just taping down my sheet of paper. And I'm hearing some wrestling going out and on in the hallway. Okie dokie. Let's switch reference. And I'm going to just get a little drink of water before we start. And let me switch on my iPad. All right, questions. Let me go back to, okay, hold on now. I'll tell Bubba that you said hi, Phoenix. Well, Bubba technically is called a Morkie, which is half Yorkshire Terrier and half Maltese. But I just call him a pain in the butt because Bub is the biggest pain in the butt. But a Westie seems really cool. Daisy, that's a great name, Sandy. Okie dokie. I guess I'm going to use the same pencil. A little torn about the ebony, and I don't even know what I did with the one that I was drawing with. This one's a little bit smaller, but we'll just deal with this one. Okay, so I am here on the paper and here on the paper, and that works for me. Okay, so portrait. What are we doing here? So I'm going to say that's going to be the top. I should go a little bit higher. Okay, top and line of action into the bottom of our portrait's hair. That's very big for me. So now we're coming on down. There's a tilt, and I'm going to wrap like that. Okay, and so the bottom of our princess's hair here is higher than the bottom of our princess's hair over here, but not by much. Okay, so now I'm going to come out over here with the part of our princess's hair. It comes down. It comes down. And this is too thick. All right, so this is too thick. But let me just put it in, and we'll adjust. Okay, so I'm looking at this to the jaw. So what are we doing now? We're doing line. Like it's different. It's not the tone thing. Let me just tape this down here. Okay, so this is I'm drawing too slow. I need to go faster for this to flow. And then I'll zoom in once I get it to a place that I'm somewhat happy with. Look at the space between the chin area and the shoulder area. And now I'm going to make the side of the hair a little smaller. Less wide is the right word. And I'm going to make this side a little, well, it's a funky shape. Okay, so that's my quick sketch, and I'm going to zoom in now. Let's see, how many people did we lose already? Okay, we lost a lot of people. That's cool. So I'm just going to go for it. So I'm going to just look and draw here. And so now this warm-up for me is about line a little bit more in the beginning and proportions. And so I'm doing this flowy line. So this is flowing into our princess's under the chin and our princess's neck longer. There's an angle here, convex, and this rolls around the cylinder. And then our trapezius. Good. Can you... So, Batman, how do I know where to put the shoulders? Basically, you have to establish home base in your drawing, and my home base is the hair. So I'm trying to resolve the hair first because everything for me is going to be based off of the hair. So now I look at the bottom of our princess's hair and I'm looking at the distance from here to here. So in essence, yeah, I'm looking at negative space, and the negative space is going to determine where I put those shoulders. So when I look at the bottom of our princess's hair here and I'm looking at this height, and this technically could maybe be a little bit lower. And you have to be very mindful that there's a tilt to the portrait and thus a tilt to the hair. And I think I have the hair tilt a little bit too extreme. And that's kicking my butt right now, but that's okay. So now I'm going to come back and I'm just going to get the bow shape just as like a landmark. And that bow shape comes down over here. Sometimes it's best to go faster and not be so perfect and slow. I used to do this with angles, but I don't necessarily like that much anymore. Just saw your Gibson Girls vid. Learned so much about the line work. Adam, that makes you and me both. I learned so much when I did that Gibson Girl thing. I loved doing that. That was one of my favorite lessons of the entire fall semester because, like, I like especially the nose. Like, I kind of memorized it. And I could draw that now out of my imagination. The way that Gibson, Charles Dana Gibson, did the nose and the lips and the eyes. Like, I just thought that was so invaluable to do. Like, master studies, like, a lot of the younger students hate the word copy, but replace the word copy with study. And it's a study, and it's not plagiarism. It's not that type of copying. It's studying, and I love that. So Adam, I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's not easy. Just because you understand it doesn't mean you're going to get it every time. Listen, I get you. That's everything. Sports, like, you can understand what a professional sports player does with what they do, but it's hard to do it. It's one thing to understand it, it's another thing to do it. Okay, so now let's look at this forehead as a triangle. I have the face too wide. Darn it. Okay, so let's enter it here late. What is the emphasis of the Ang work? Adam. Okay. So it was requested. So I asked people, what do you want me to do on a live stream? And somebody had mentioned, we want you to draw an Ang, do an Ang study. So there's so many different Angs. There's tons of line. So the first thing we did was we did this. We did a value study of the full painting just as a warm up and just to kind of get into drawing here in 2026 because I took a couple weeks off. So we were matching values and just trying to draw a somewhat proportioned version of this painting. So now what we're doing next is we are just going to switch gears a little bit and do a quick linear start to getting this portrait. So now what I'm going to do is I'm looking at, I think this could be taller, and that would make that forehead feel taller. I'm going to do eyebrows next. So our eyebrow eye socket, just got to do that line of action. Curves around like that. It curves down. We're looking at the forehead. So what I need to do with our model's forehead is I need to raise it. So I'm going to erase out that line. That's very important to me. I always started my portrait paintings for book covers, and my tilt is too severe. It needs to be a little less tilty. And so I'm going to try more line of action here. So I'm going to come on into the lower eyelid vicinity. Okay, and then I'm going to do upper eyelid line. Coming on down to that tear duct and bridge of the nose. And I'm not going to go too much crazier with that. For now, I want to just get... so this is different now than the Gibson Girl nose. This is more, Adam, I'm doing this as a tone. Like that. And then that tone comes down pretty far there to the upper lip, and those lips are tilted. So I'm just doing those lips as like a little bit of a value right now. Get the corner of the lip, make sure you get that tilt, and under the lower lip. And then under, as the chin starts to curve under, and then we want to curve this cast shadow around the neck. And then we're going to come into the pit of the neck in between the two SEM muscles. And yes, I am going to do the diagonal pencil stroke with a light touch. We don't want to go too dark. And then this is our sternomastoid muscle that comes down and attaches to the clavicle, the collarbone. Collarbone here, cast shadow. The neck is casting on that shadow, on that shoulder, I meant to say. Chest, deltoid separation, deltoid. And convex line. Okay, let's go back up top. Let me sharpen this pencil. I just got to shake out my arm because my arm here, when I hold it here, is above my heart. Okay, and when it's above my heart for like an hour and a half, like my hand starts to get like a little shaky. So I'm just want to put my arm straight down, let some blood go to my hand. And while I'm doing that with my left hand, I'm just going to get a little drink here. I don't know why I have such a tilt with the head, but I have such a tilt with the head. So that tells me that I'm out of practice because I didn't draw for 2 weeks in a row. So I don't have my tilts correct. It's way too tilted. So at least I'm conscious of it and I understand that. Yeah, it's a very... Parts of this painting are so realistic but not the face. The face just is a little stylized to me. I think the point of a portrait like this is to not capture every true realistic essence of the person's features. It's to leave some areas out, um, because sometimes not everybody wants to see their true self. Like I would want some things, if somebody did a portrait painting of me, not shown. And so when you don't show everything, it could get a little stylized, for sure. Looking too far to the left. I'm just trying to connect the eyes now with a connection line. The ebony pencil is not forgiving. Like, this is why I like my Colorase pencil, because I can do those light connector lines, and they're very faint. So I'm going to do a straight up and down pencil stroke, straight up and down pencil stroke at that eye socket. And let's, this is too tilted. There's no white of the eye on this side. I'm going to lower this eye and make a mess out of this. So let me get my mono 0, because I need to drop this eye because I just have too much of a tilt. And by dropping that, and let's, so this is, for me right now, it's in my face, haven't drawn in 2 weeks practice. Yeah. In my face. See, so I'm really just warming up and getting back into things in front of everybody on YouTube. Good stuff. Good stuff. And just gotta be ready and just go for it. Straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down, straight up and down. Resharpen the pencil. And so this will probably come back to bite me in the butt. But I'm gonna go for it. And however it comes out, it comes out. If I crash and burn, I crash and burn. So I'm not gonna regret taking my time off during the winter break to reset everything. I think that's so valuable. And so if you're new to drawing, it will take you a little bit longer if you take 2 weeks off to kind of get back into it. For me, if I was to draw every single day this week, I'd be back into my skill set probably by Thursday or Friday. Today's Tuesday. Probably even shorter than that. But today, yeah, this is kind of kicking my butt a little bit. And it's good. You know, it's like you got to stay on your toes. And most of drawing and is eye-hand coordination. It's not your knowledge. You know what to do. Most people know what to do. Most teachers know what to do. But it's different because your hand is not going to cooperate if you don't draw all the time. So the more you can practice consistently and not take 2 weeks off, the better off. But I'm a big believer as I've gotten older to just slow down a little bit and smell the roses a little bit more, because my whole entire life was a race to meet deadlines. And so I just feel that I'll sacrifice a little bit of eye-hand coordination to reset my body and my brain over the winter break before another semester with 100 new students happens to me next week, which it's pretty intense, and teaching at DTO. So this is actually kind of really fun. I'm acknowledging that the eyes are too tilted. I'm acknowledging that. So let's see if we can't fix it. So let me just cut my mono zero eraser again. If anybody has any questions. So maybe what I'll do is raise this eye. And lower this eye. This is actually a fun little portrait to draw. I love the way this looks. Not my head tilt, but the portrait. And the ebony pencil doesn't erase great. I see. Wow, there's some serious... The tear ducts are extremely stylized. Oh, I see. This does not tilt up. It's level. Super fun. And then it comes down. And then this is a half circle. This eye still needs to be moved over. And let's try to get this upper eyelid. It's a pretty big shape. And for some reason, I still have the eyes looking too much to the left. Why is that? Why is that? Make that a little bit smaller. This is a beautiful portrait. So I've got to try to do this justice. And so there's the lower eyelid that I don't really like to go too crazy with. I like less is best there. And let's go a little darker now here. Yeah, absolutely. So it's just going into it with an intention, and but the bigger picture is your style. So whatever your style is should be the focus. So for me, my style is always about likeness. That's just a value that I have always worked from. For some people, it's different. For some people, it's not about likeness at all. For some people, it's about movement. And then there's other people, and it's about the emotion of the drawing and what is the story being told by the drawing. So it's just understanding what you like as an artist. And then there's the time factor. So there needs to be a realistic attitude also about the time. So like in my classroom with my animation students, like you would have different expectations for what you would expect out of a 2-minute gesture pose versus a 20-minute drawing. And those two should be handled differently. So I wanted to start this portrait loose like that, just to remind myself about these connection lines and lines of action. But now I'm switching gears because for me, this YouTube live stream is my kind of public warm-up to kind of get back into drawing after my 2-week hiatus over the winter holiday break. So yeah, it's to be expected that I'm going to be not spot on with everything. I think if I was spot on with everything, that would be a little bit of luck. Absolutely, combined with how I feel. So like when you're an artist, like I relate being an artist so much to being like a professional athlete. So like athletes, like let's just take golfers. I'm not a golfer. I barely know anything about golf, but I watch it because I like how these golfers think their mental management, because I follow a mental management coach for athletes, and they coach a lot of golfers. And so it's interesting that one week one golfer could win, and then the next week the next golfer could win, and they all pretty much have the same skills. It's their mental game is going to be the reason why that particular day, that morning, that they wake up and everything is flowing. So that's like a whole nother can of worms with your art. Every day you're going to have a different vibe in terms of how you're feeling and thus how you're drawing. So that's a mental thing as well as a physical thing. So there's many different variables. You've got to think of yourself as an athlete. Yeah. So that was Kim Jong Ji's kind of thing, right? And I didn't really, I don't really watch a lot of artists on YouTube, so I don't think I ever really watched any of their videos. Oh my God, I can't believe I'm saying that, but I try not to watch other artists' videos because I want to stay true to my language. I'm not saying that I'm not about constant, never-ending improvement. I am, but in different areas of my life. So I'm about constant, never-ending improvement in health, about constant and never-ending improvement in diet, and constant and never-ending improvement in mental management for athletes, aka artists. So I'm always learning new stuff. But the one thing that I don't really do is watch other artists on YouTube. Um, I very like maybe I'll catch like a snippet here and there when I'm like scrolling on YouTube and I see an artist and something interests me. I might just glance at it quickly. But yeah, so I don't even think I ever watched any of that person's videos, which is a sin on my part because I know they were really, really good. But yeah, that's an intentional thing. So you come into it with intention, not everything by happenstance or by accident. So I'm just going to work on this for a little while longer. It's a challenge. See if I can't make it look a little bit more like this. I have the eyes too far away and too small, for sure. So let's make the eyes bigger. That helped a little bit, but I think I'm very far away from likeness. Yeah, the eyes are much closer together. I have them too far. So I'm just working to bring them closer. And that's a whole nother kit and caboodle is looking. So looking is most of drawing, and I haven't really been practicing my vision over the last 2 weeks at all. So a lot of this that doesn't get talked about enough is your vision skills and looking more than you actually draw. So my looking skills are very, very off. And I just kind of noticed that because I just started looking at the model's eyes and I just started studying instead of just drawing. And yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of great people out there. It's amazing. There's so much talent. And I attribute most of that to YouTube because you can see the most gifted, most talented artists on YouTube for free. And if you study with intention, with a notebook, take notes, you can learn so much. Just pressing down a little bit harder. This is fun, actually. Let's see. We got a little bit of time. The hair is not white. It's mid-tone up there at the highlight, but I don't know if I want to match the values on this, but I do want to go a little darker here. Super fun. Let's see. What else can we do to these eyes? Damn it. Damn it. I'm just looking at the edge of the face right now. I'm making the face a little less wide. And yeah. Let's make this all dark. Oh, hold on now. I just want to get some. Oh, I already have a ton of eraser crumbs and graphite all over my new keyboard. Love it. Okay. Now listen, if you're watching this live stream and you're not subscribed to the channel, take a moment to subscribe. I'm doing a live stream every single Tuesday for my winter spring semester at the School of Visual Arts for my website, Drawing Tutorials Online. But my life basically is run in college semesters, so I kind of label everything that I do. Fall semester, SVA calls it the spring, fall, winter, no, fall, spring, summer, but that confuses people outside of a college setting because it's winter right now. But yeah, so it's everything is in semesters for me. I kind of like that. I like having a beginning and an end. Her eyes are just closer together. Yeah, I didn't get that. And so that's kicking my butt. So these tear ducts, they're just closer together. Oh, kicking my butt. Kicking my butt. Tip of the nose is a little harder edge. Let me see. Little Gibby. I just want to say I've been watching your videos for years. You've helped me so much with my art journey. Well, thank you so much for that. I appreciate you watching. And if there's ever anything that you want me to do on a live stream, I'm all ears. Today's live stream, somebody requested that I draw this artist. I just can't remember who requested it. And yeah, so, but if you have any requests, I'm all ears. Oh, I would have loved to have gotten the likeness on this. Let's just this. Oh, especially on a YouTube live stream, that would have been great. But I'm acknowledging that this portrait is kicking my butt all day long. But I'm still working on it. I'm still working on it. I'm going around with my pencil strokes over here to try to accentuate the round neck. Neck is very long. I love this over here near the neck with the collarbone. Edge of the collarbone over here, curving around. Very stylized. So let's talk about the nose. So I'm I'm off with everything on this one. Um, Galen Pemberton. So yeah, this is kicking my butt, and it's my warm up session here. Been off for 2 weeks. So how I'm dealing with the nose, I like the philosophy with noses on a female. Less is best. That's just my philosophy. Um, so I'm just going to do less is best, and I'm going to concentrate way more on the underplane shadow here, what I'm working on here. And now this is a cast shadow that has a little bit of a harder edge, and this is a little lower. This needs to be a solid value. And I'm now meshing the underplane of the nostril area, the form of the nose, into the cast shadow. I am not concerning myself with the nostrils. I'm actually not even really drawing that nostril. I'm instead looking at the shape of shadow, and my ebony pencil does not erase well. Um, and everything on the side of the nose, I'm a big believer in less is best. Okay, that's just my philosophy. You don't have to agree. Um, so there's that cast shadow. Let me resharpen. This pencil's getting smaller and smaller. So now our princess's lips. This was a really good warm-up session. I'm very out of practice, but um, I think this helped me a lot, and I need to be on my toes for the beginning of the semester because I'm gonna have a bunch of judgy 19-year-olds watching me do drawing demonstrations next Wednesday. So yeah, should be fun. No, they're good students. I like teasing them all the time. And just matching values the way we did on the tonal study earlier. And now this cheek turning. Yeah, for sure. Less is best with the nose for me. I mean, I painted book covers for 18 years. And when you're painting a young adult book cover with a 13-year-old girl on the book cover, you don't want to have too much detail near the nose. That was just always my philosophy. I did more of a simplistic face for book covers. Um, yeah, the eyes are just so much closer. How can I? Let's see if I just can't try to fix that. So let's. Agreed. Totally agreed. So let's move the hair in. Move this to the right. I'm not using the blend-in stump because I think that's going to throw everything off. Get rid of the white of the eye. And this eye needs to have a little bit more detail. That upper eyelid needs to be a little bit taller. Um, yeah, I heard someone say they are visually into noses, and I thought that was odd at first, but yeah, it's everybody's different. Like if you look at an artist, Malcolm Lipke, um, they always did like red noses, like the tips of their models' noses in their paintings were always extremely red and exaggerated. And when I first started looking at their artwork, I never really got that. I get it now, and I do like it, but for me, that doesn't really work. I just like more of the different philosophy of less is best. And these eyes are tough. Woo wee, tough. Um, I like, I really love the Hildebrandt brothers. Um, Hildebrandt brothers. I love so many people. I mean, Rockwell, N.C. Wyeth. Yeah, I've got my bookshelf over there. I do like a lot of the classical painters as well, like Bouguereau and Jerome and all those people. But yeah, I there's illustration was my thing for 18 plus years. And what else can I do to this quick sketch? Do I use the brush and really mess around with it? It was fun. Or do I keep it sketchy like this? I'm probably going to work on this after the live stream because I do want to get the likeness because I like the way that this is coming out. It's a little sketchy. And I'm close, kind of. Let me cut the eraser one more time. This eyelid needs to be a little bit more level and lower. This is so far away from my flipping head. Does not erase well. Yes, SSP Artistic. Do you have a question? Yeah, absolutely agreed. What I could do, believe it or not, which would help, I could destroy it with my paintbrush and go over the whole thing and then use my eraser. I kind of like the freshness of it without using the brush. And once you use the brush, then you've got to use it everywhere. And then it ceases to be a short drawing and becomes more of a long drawing, and with a whole different vibe to it. But it is a lot of fun. And Adam, I agree with you. It's just, so when I draw on the live stream, so I don't get like my bald head in the camera, I need to be pretty far away from the drawing. And so, like, I'm not saying that I'm not using that as like a crutch or an excuse, but it does help when I'm able to get like a little closer and get my actual head closer to the actual drawing and not be so far away so my head doesn't get in the camera frame. It's a fun piece, for sure. And we've got the underplane of the chin jaw. Let's fuss with that a little bit. There's a lot of little nuances. You're absolutely right. And then there's the whole nuance of the background tone. So I'm drawing the princess against white paper, which is different than matching values. So matching values has a lot also to do with the likeness. How do I know that? Um, if I had to change like the color of a model's eyes on a book cover, so if the actual model that was photographed for the book cover had brown eyes and I needed to make them blue, um, it would completely change the likeness, in a second. So that is a thing, and the fact that I'm not I don't have the likeness. I'm admitting that right now, but the fact that I'm doing this against white paper does change everything versus if it was the same value as what you see in the actual painting. That does play for a lot. Yeah, true. And I've got to do more of that actually in the classroom to paint on gray background on my images versus white all the time. I do most of my digital stuff in the classroom because my computer gets projected onto a screen so that the students can see, the students who actually look. Okay, people, we are almost to the end of this live stream. Really appreciate you all watching. This was most certainly a lot of fun. And it was a good warm up session for me. And this is I'm starting to like the ebony pencil. I hated it for years, but I'm actually starting to like it again. Um, I guess going through phases is just part of it, right? Um, Being an artist has a lot to do with phases, and for sure. Just looking. Yeah, needs more work. So listen, everybody. I've been teaching for about 2 hours now, and if anybody's interested, I've got drawing tutorials online, which is my membership website. And what's the difference between my membership website and what my videos are on YouTube? Well, on my website, it's nowadays it's not about more tutorials because tutorials are starting to become like a dime a dozen, and um, there's so many artists out there on YouTube doing these tutorials. But what my website offers to people is critique. And one of the most important things that you could use on my website Yeah, I've got a full library of I don't even know how many hours I have on the website, but let's just say there's many, 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 many dozens and dozens and dozens of hours of video content, structured learning courses that cover primarily um, figure and portrait, although I've got some really good composition. I've got some painting also on the website. And then it's feedback. It's me, you uploading your artwork and me drawing on top of your artwork digitally, showing you what needs improvement. And I'm really good at doing that because I've been doing it for so many years. And I could cut through the noise and tell you immediately what is not working and what you need to work on. And then the other beautiful thing about the critiques is that you could steer the critique in the direction that you want it to be steered by simply just asking questions. When you upload your image, you ask a couple questions. Matt, this is a drawing I was doing, and I was really struggling with how to draw the torso on this figure drawing. Can you help me with that section? Boom. That is like what my website is all about. Me helping you to get better faster. Yeah, I've got a boatload of videos, and they're timeless. Like I still learn from Loomis's stuff, which is, I don't know how old it is, but let's just say it's like 100 years old. It's timeless. And so, like, it doesn't matter that I made a tutorial in 215 or 212 or 2008. They're timeless. And it's not about that. It's more about the feedback that you get on your artwork. And then the other thing that I have there also that's different than YouTube is my Zoom class. And in the Zoom class, we have structured learning there, and you get access to the photo reference, and we do a Q&A after the lesson, live Q&A. So you get to ask me questions live in person on video, not in chat. Yeah, you got it, Mark. Well, not Mark. Max Simon. Boy, that's a tough one. Make Simon Zing 6497. I butchered it. I'm sorry. So that's what my website has to offer. I don't want to turn this into an infomercial, but for if you join for $19 a month and you just subscribe and you stay for 1 month, which is basically $20, you get 4 critiques, which is personal coaching for $19. That's insane. That is so inexpensive. Most people, just a starter thing for coaching is like $600. It's crazy. So this is, you get a short video critique of your artwork, which is personalized coaching. And that is really worth it. Okay. All right, people. So this needs more work, and I'm going to work on it a little bit outside of the live stream. I really like the way that this came out for not drawing for 2 weeks. Thank you, Carmela. Yeah, Carmela's work has just... Carmela, well, first of all, Carmela is one of the hardest working students I've ever had. And so, Carmela, it's all of your hard work. I'm just giving you little tidbits of information, and you are running with it. So I appreciate all of your hard work. And I listen, all right, so this thing's done for the live stream. I'm sorry, YouTube. My tilt is not correct. It's too exaggerated. The eyes don't look like the princess's eyes, but maybe I'll work on it a little bit this afternoon and see what I can come up with by getting a little bit closer to it. But I like the way that it looks, and I think I'm off to a good start for my 2020-26, and it can only get better from here. And yeah, so let me just close this out. Let's see, where are we? Let's go here. And let me, yeah, that was so much fun, I gotta say. Thank you so much, everybody. Does anybody have any more questions before we close this live stream out? And thank you so much for all of your likes. Very, very thoughtful of you. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe. If you want to be notified when I do these live streams, I'm going to do a live stream every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. Click on the bell notifications thing. That would be good for you. So you get notified. Yeah, I think that's all I got today. Thank you, William, for watching. I appreciate you. Good question about the black and white thing. That was very good. So here's SSP Artistic. I missed your question. I actually currently draw old painting style portraits, so I face a little problem with eyes. It feels small to my overall face. Any suggestions on how to fix it? So don't think of it as an eye. Think of it as an abstract shape. And what you're basically trying to do is look at you. You got it, Galen. Thank you, Carmela. I'll see you next Tuesday. Um, you just need to look at lights and shadows with the eyes. That's all I was basically doing when I was drawing the princess's face. Was I was just trying to look for lights and shadows and thinking. Thank you, Helen. Trying to think of this stuff as very abstract and not eyelashes and not highlights, but big shapes. Um, Jeffrey Craig Williams, I appreciate you watching so much. Thank you so much for that. Um, awesome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Elizabeth, welcome. And this is done. I appreciate you joining us. Thank you for saying hello. I hope everybody had a good New Year. 226 is going to be huge. I'm going to try to do a video every single week on YouTube here. Long time sub. I'll turn on the notifications because watching puts me in the mood to draw. Appreciate you. That's what this is all about. It's just kind of getting back to good old-fashioned hand drawing, just like a hangout session. That's what I like this live stream so much, because it's just like hanging out and drawing. It's so much fun. Thank you. Gillespie. Awesome. All right. I think I'm out. Appreciate y'all. Be good. Be good. Thanks for watching.